go on a Wednesday. It's the 9th of July. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett. She's Sarah Ellison. And today is brought to you by our friends at Be More Around Town. We're looking forward to rolling out this new partnership over the next several weeks with our friend Brian Snyder and the fantastic group, whether it be for tailgating, road trip experiences, you name it, in and around the Baltimore area. BeMoreAroundTown.com is where you can learn more. We'll tell you about them in just a bit. In terms of content for today, LaShawn McCoy, former NFL star running back, sang the Ravens' praises, Sarah, and even referred to them as flawless when it comes to their roster construction. Then the conversation sort of shifted in a different direction when it comes to the Steelers, and that'll open up maybe a little bit of a debate or a back and forth on whether or not we feel like they're being slept on given all the moves and acquisitions they've been up to so far this offseason. Zay Flowers puts the league on notice for a rookie in Baltimore. Hint, hint, it's on the defensive side of the ball. And a Ray Lewis debate that went viral on social media. All that and more. What's going on with you?
Just ready for the show today. Excited to get to it. Excited to get to all the content. Loving the summer right now. There's some, well, you mentioned Ray Lewis. That's like peak July debate going on in Twitter. Just fun July content for sure, but definitely ready to analyze these two AFC North rosters and after all the moves that they made.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny how those things take on new life this time of year. It's almost like the Twitter community is starving for something. So we'll have that coming up in sort of a third topic. Quick hits, of course, will follow. And then one more thing. If you joined us for yesterday's one more thing, you know darn well that it went off the rails a little bit. And what if we told you that today's one more thing is essentially going to be an add-on from yesterday? So that, a little teaser, it has to do with my luscious locks. We're going to get to that coming up later on in the show. But let's begin with the facility, Sarah. No James Jones. I guess he's out on vacation. So the trio was Emmanuel Acho, of course, in his usual host chair. You had LaShawn McCoy, like I mentioned, and then Will Harmon was sitting in for James Jones. And basically what they discussed is the way this Ravens roster is currently constructed. Do you see a missing piece? Here's Will first, then LaShawn McCoy chimes in as well.
Not having a bona fide number one wide receiver. Zay can be that guy. I have no doubt. My BC guy is outstanding. But that's the biggest thing I have concern with. Can they do that? You brought in Dez, right? You brought in OBJ. You bring in all these guys, and it just hasn't panned out for them. We can go all the way back to Steve Smith. I think the leading receiver was Derek Mason, way
Derek
back
Mason.
when they were in the 2000 Ravens. So that's just my concern. But outside of that, man, I know we're here nitpicking, trying to find one thing, but this team, this roster is legit, but that's my only concern. You don't got that one. Actually, the number one receiver is actually Mark Andrews, let's be real. But you don't have that one guy outside of him who can just go ahead and get that.
I think this team is flawless, to be honest with you. Good leadership from Lamar Jackson. You know how good he is. I think we got a guy like Derrick Henry. You don't need a number one receiver because, like last year, for example, Lamar had a phenomenal year throwing the ball, but Derrick Henry had 1,900 yards. You get what I'm saying? So I threw the ball well and we ran the ball well. As a defense, it's hard to really try to stop this team and defend them. So I'm not really worried about the players on paper. But I am worried about what are you going to do? Because it's a couple years you guys had a good team, right? Now, we can all, I think, yes, for sure, they can get maybe a wide receiver or two that's, maybe a number one. But other than that, hey, no team is perfect, right? Other than the Eagles. Even the Eagles, we got small little gaps. My thing with the Ravens is we got to get it done. It's two teams you got to worry about. That's it.
Literally.
It's the Bills, right, in Buffalo that y'all just can't beat up there. And it's this team with a big coach and a great quarterback, the Chiefs.
Big coach.
That's my favorite coach.
I know you love him.
But you can't beat them. And it's like we can talk about the players and this and that and the scheme and how flawless it is. I think D-Hop does help him out, leadership in the way he can make plays. One thing about really older players that maybe don't have the same juice they had when they were younger, but they are really good. And it's like any game I can give you that old
They
D-Hop.
know the situation.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I might not give you D-Hop every, game, but there's some games I give you the D-Hop of old. And that D-Hop of old is really, really great. So anyway, my main point is we can talk about all that with the Ravens. We can do that for hours. It don't matter until you get it done on the field. I hate looking at the paper.
Sarah, what's interesting about this topic, as you see in the Fox Sports banner that they used here, they quoted DeAndre Hopkins from last month during one of his press conferences. and in which the quote is him sort of pontificating or wondering, I could be the missing piece. What's not included in that quote is that he also the admission was, I may not be the missing piece. And so it's funny how this kind of got recycled while we were on vacation, because it was something that, one, didn't really stick out that much during the press conference. I can remember having a conversation with you about it, but it's said in this way that's with conviction, right? That I could be the missing piece. No,
well, and it wasn't even him. It was Marlon Humphrey relaying a conversation with DeAndre. Remember?
Okay, thank you for the reminder on that. I needed a post-vacation reminder. So yeah, so that was that part of it too, which is another reason why we didn't like jump at it. Right. So it was funny to see. I think Mike Florio was the first at Pro Football Talk to sort of recycle this in the midst of what now is going to be this pre-training camp dark period. And now, of course, once one outlet takes it, then it gets to the facility side of things. So that's kind of how this all began. What were your thoughts on that clip that we just shared?
Well, first of all, I just imagine DeAndre Hopkins being like, thanks, Marlo. Thanks for, and even the way Marlo said it, like you said, it was more pontificating. He was like, am I the missing piece? Maybe I'm not the missing piece. But, well, there's a couple of things that, I'm almost there with Shady. And with Will, I disagreed with where he was nitpicking. Okay, so Shady at one point said that the team is flawless, and then later said they're not perfect. To me, flawless and perfect are kind of synonyms, so I don't know where he's at. I agree with him that the Ravens aren't perfect. They don't have a perfect roster, but holy moly, on paper, is it a good roster? For sure. We just talked yesterday about how Rashad Bateman said it for sure is the best roster he's been a part of, and he's been a part of several Super Bowl contending rosters. And so I can't go with flawless. And to Will's point, if you nitpick, you can find some things here and there. There's still some question marks. However, I wouldn't nitpick where Will decided to nitpick, which was he said, okay, they don't have like that bona fide number one wide receiver. Do the Ravens have Jamar Chase? No. But do I like the trio of Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman and DeAndre Hopkins, and then the two top tight ends in the league in Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely? Like, that is not where I would be nitpicking, is Lamar Jackson's weapons in the passing game. That's where I would nitpick. I think we both would go to the kicker position first. And then from there, you're just like questions about whether or not young rookies could step in. Is Malachi Starks? You feel pretty confident. We're going to talk about him later. Is Malachi Starks going to be that guy? Is Mike Green going to come to fruition? Like, and how long is it going to take for those two guys? Is the left guard position settled? What's going to happen there? So if you're nitpicking, those are the places that we here that cover the team daily. That's where we kind of look at. But I'd say near flawless and maybe the best of the league, though.
I like where you're going with this. If I were to put it in an order of nitpicking, it would be kicker, obviously, like you just said. We both agree on that. For me, then it would go to Malachi. Can he be the guy immediately with Ardarius Washington not being available for the majority of this upcoming season, barring some sort of crazy, miraculous comeback in December like he thinks he can do? Hey, knock on wood, hopefully he can. That would be 2 for me. 3, I'd probably go to Roquan's running mate. 4 would be guard depth. And then 5 would be an honorable mention of pass rush consistency in January. That would be my 5.
To your point where you talk about the linebacker, it's not just like Roquan's running mate, which that is a question, but a smaller question, which I know we're both confident in that he'll answer, is just, will Roquan have a bounce back season himself?
Even after being, what was he, all pro? What was he?
He was a Pro Bowler, I believe, last year. Was he an all pro?
He was definitely a Pro Bowler. Question is, was he a second team all pro? Like my memory feels like he was, but you let me know on that Google check.
Let's see. We've got first team all pro. Yeah, he was a first team all pro last year.
First team all pro.
Yeah, you were right.
Imagine that though. Imagine saying like, hey, and it's a legitimate question because of the first quarter of his season, which is why you're bringing it up. But imagine bringing that up after still walking away from last year with those accolades that he did.
Right. Well, and I know Roquan himself is probably unsatisfied. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but Bobby, that kind of takes us, unless there's anything else you want to say about the Ravens roster in the clip we just heard.
I'm all set.
Okay, so that kind of brings us to kind of this comparison, right? The question I kind of have, like when people like LaShawn McCoy, did I just say his name right?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay, I almost combined two of them, but when he said they're flawless, I feel like that might be overstating it, right? So the question is, are people as good as the Ravens roster is are the Ravens being gassed up while maybe the Steelers might be slept on? Okay, so what I want to do is transition this to the Steelers now. And in this same segment, the question was posed to the group. Are we giving the new look Steelers enough respect? Okay, and they kind of point out the notable Steelers offseason additions. Obviously, the big one is Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Running back Kenneth Gainwell. Najee Harris is out. Got their number one wide receiver in DK Metcalf. Also added another wide receiver in Robert Woods. Got a Pro Bowl tight end from last year, Jonnu Smith, to go with Freiermuth. You added, coming off of a Super Bowl win, Darius Slay at cornerback, plus Jalen Ramsey. Okay, so let's listen to what the crew has to say. First, we'll listen to Will. We'll react, and then Shady has his opinions on it. But Will, definitely in the Steelers camp.
We give the new look Steelers enough respect?
Hell no. No, they're not giving them much respect because I feel like essentially they upgraded at most positions, right? They upgraded at quarterback, clear as day. You see that? They went and got DK Metcalf. They went and got a true bona fide number one receiver. They lose Minka, but you get Jalen, right? You probably have one of the strongest tight end rooms now with Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth. So I think overall, a lot of teams are sleeping on the Steelers. I definitely think they upgraded.
Okay, there's him. On the other side, here's McCoy.
You guys have some more respect. People are at home getting ready to cook out, and y'all talking this mumbo jumbo about the Steelers. Let's keep it real, though. The Steelers should be in a category with the Bengals as a team that has a lot of potential, but we don't know what we're going to get. We don't know that. Y'all just put them in tier 3 with playoff teams. Shame on y'all. Real quick. Number 2 is...
They're a playoff team. They've been a playoff team.
I don't know that, man. I don't know that. I don't know that. Right?
Speaking of mumbo jumbo.
Y'all can't sit there and be serious thinking that there's no question marks on this team. Listen, I think that they are getting enough respect, right? But I think you guys give them too much respect. You got to go out there and play, man. Because the last Steelers team I've seen, that's not Steeler football.
That's a good point.
That's not Steeler football. I'm not used to seeing teams put 35, 34 on y'all like that. I'm not used to that. Right? And then on the offensive side of the ball, y'all can't run the ball. Y'all can't block. Listen, I think the Steelers have a chance. They have potential. They made some right moves, and I'm with that. Only thing I'm saying is, before we start getting too crazy and overworked ourselves about this thing and overthinking it, let's let these boys play and see what happens, please.
Okay, Bobby, so with these additions on the screen, do you think the Steelers are getting the appropriate amount of respect or too little? What say you?
Gosh, I guess it really depends on how much coverage you consume and where you're watching, right? But I thought that LaShawn's take was fair. At the same time, yes, the Steelers' brand of football in recent years has been unrecognizable. I think we can all agree about that. Maybe you can take out the Ravens matchups because when it's Ravens-Steelers, everything goes out the window. But even with how unrecognizable they've been, they're still Mike Tomlin is still overperforming, getting them to the postseason with the rosters that he's had in recent years. That's how I feel. Now, you got to go back to 2016 since the last time they won a playoff game. You think it's hot right now? John Harbaugh's chair in Baltimore? I think it's a little bit hotter in Pittsburgh.
Certainly in the fan base.
For sure. Now, granted, it's been a quarterback carousel at that position since Big Ben retired. So I would have to think that if you're looking for reasons to say, oh, it's not as hot as as Harbaugh's is because he's got the MVP quarterback on an annual basis. I'm here to have that debate back and forth. But this is a roster that's been upgraded significantly, and not only with these additions that you see up on the screen. I mean, can we mention Derek Harmon? I know a lot. Sarah, I can remember Derek Harmon when he came off the board in round 1 to the Ravens, to the Steelers. Everybody was like, "Oh no, that was our guy." that was the defensive standout. Well, now he joins that defensive front, which has already given the Ravens and many other teams in the AFC fits. TJ Watt, I would suspect that that's going to be solved between now and the start of training camp, or now and the start of the season. So I think they do deserve respect. How much, it's hard for me to say because I don't know what coverage we're specifically.
Well, how many wins do you see them notching this year? And what do you think of? You think they'll split with the Ravens, or?
Yes, I do think they're going to split with the Ravens. And I think I'm already on record for saying that their ceiling will be 10 wins.
Ceiling is 10 wins. Okay. Yeah. So I actually agree. Acho, I didn't play his clip because I thought I could just grab his graphic here. I think Acho has them in the correct place. And, Shea didn't start off his debate very well when he's like, you guys are comparing him to playoff teams? And then Will is like, well, they were just in the playoffs. And then he paused for a minute. Then he had a pretty nice comeback after that, pointing out how there's questions and all that kind of stuff. So Acho put together a 3-tiered hierarchy in the AFC. And I think this is probably pretty close to right on. He's got tier 1, the Kansas City Chiefs by themselves. They keep going to the Super Bowl from the AFC. Neither the Ravens nor the Bills have beaten them in recent years. Bengals did like what feels like forever ago now, but they're sure living off that glory. Tier 2, he has the Ravens and Bills together. Completely agree. Tier 3, he has teams that he feels like will get themselves into the playoffs. Probably eke their way in. So he's got the Bengals, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Texans, and went ahead and added the Steelers. Now, prior to signing Aaron Rodgers, he said when they had Mason Rudolph as their penciled-in starter, he's like, I wouldn't have even put them in tier 3. I feel the same. I feel like the Steelers are always knocking on the door of making the playoffs. They're always right there. My problem is, and maybe I'm one of those people who are sleeping on them a little bit. Like, I don't sleep on them mostly against the Ravens because it's Steelers-Ravens, right? Like it's almost like Ravens-Browns. I know the Ravens are a better team than the Browns. You put those two rosters together, the Ravens are just better. But inside this division, somehow the Browns seem to pull off an upset here and there, and it just shouldn't happen, right? But because they know each other so well, it almost always does happen. So I almost give respect to the Steelers just because of that history. And I know Baltimore is kind of feeling themselves right now because Ravens beat them in their second regular season game and then beat them again in the playoffs. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not so worried. So I always revert back to how the division goes down. That's where I give them my respect. But in terms of like the roster, it just feels like a veteran teetering on old roster, right? It just is like, I think that their defense is going to be very good again, one of the top in the league. But when you are in a league where it is quarterback driven and we don't know what we're going to get out of Aaron Rodgers, over the last 2 years, he's essentially done nothing. Could he theoretically come out of nowhere and this MVP Aaron Rodgers come back because this is it? He's made it clear that this is it. And he's playing with house money at this point. And maybe they're able to protect him a little bit, lean into the running game a little bit more. Maybe he's going to come out of nowhere. But to me, all of this teeters on Aaron Rodgers. All of it. Because without Aaron, it seems like the same Steelers teams that we've seen over the last half a decade that's going to have a good defense, probably a decent running game, although they definitely as McCoy pointed out, wasn't as good. But to me, it's like if Aaron somehow reemerges out of nowhere, then yeah, they're going to be a more legit team. I just don't have faith in that at this point.
The reason why I'm referring to them as a ceiling 10-win team is because of the defense. So I'm not necessarily, I don't think we're that far off here when assessing on paper, again, what they have offensively. DK is a superstar. Aaron is on the back nine, more like approaching the final 3 holes of his back nine. And to your point, it's whatever he has left in the tank. And he's already essentially teased the idea that this is it. Outside of DK, outside of the 2 tight ends, the offense doesn't scare you. Will they find a way, though, to put up enough points with that stellar defense to compete with the Ravens in both games? I think so. I think it's going to be your classic Ravens-Steelers clashes. But yeah, offensively, again, I think they're a wild card team at best, 10-7 at best, and that's with a full slate of health and a defense that is championship caliber. That's a lot of ifs.
Yep.
That's a lot of ifs.
It's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
A lot more questions than the Ravens, that's for sure.
No question. No question. See what I did there? No question. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Be More Around Town. We've been working with Brian and his team for a number of years now. And I know me personally, Sarah, the last couple of years, I've broadcast pregame shows at every single home tailgate. I've even had a chance to go to London with Brian and his team. And so I can tell you from firsthand experience, Be More Around Town does the tailgate side of things at an elite level and the road trip experiences at an elite level. And as you can see, we're not too far out from the first of the year, which is coming up at Buffalo, which will begin the season, Sunday Night Football. The great Chris McAllister will be hosting this purple tailgate on the road. And right now, you can book a full Ravens away trip experience with Be More Around Town. And if you do, you're going to receive 2 complimentary VIP #purple tailgate passes to a 2025 home tailgate of your choice. So again, if you sign up with Brian and Be More to go on an away trip, he's going to give you 2 complimentary VIP purple tailgate passes to a 2025 home tailgate of your choice. All you have to do is once you book your trip, in order to redeem the complimentary passes, all you have to do is email brian@bemorearoundtown.com. You can find all that information in the show notes below. All you literally have to do, this is how simple they make it for you. Book your spot, pack your bags, and show up. Chris McAllister, as I mentioned, is hosting the Buffalo tailgate. 20 spots remain. Brian just gave us some notes earlier today. So 20 spots remain on his Buffalo trip. The Buffalo tailgate only, that is an option. It's now on sale for those traveling to Western New York on their own in week 1. For Kansas City, just over 30 spots remain. Miami's going to be hosted by the great Jamal Lewis. He's got a freaking, Sarah, this is a star-studded group that he's working on this year. Less than 25% availability remains for the trip to Minnesota. Green Bay, which is a very popular one this year, of course, given the history and the storied tradition of Packers football. That has 12 spots remaining. And so that's just a few notes that he passed along. But right now you're seeing on BeMoreAroundTown.com all these different options where you can click in to the trip of your choosing. So just for example, Ravens at Buffalo. You'll see you can throw down a deposit. It's going to be at Highmark Stadium. The tailgate only pass is an option. You can deposit for a 2-night bus trip. That's what I did before I came down with the Buffalo Plague last January. And so all I'll say is if you're looking to get your fall underway and you want to go on the road with Be More and follow your team, Brian and his crew, they do it just at an exceptional level. So big thanks to them for their continued support and sponsoring the show. And at some point, we got to get you on a Be More Around Town trip. Maybe, just maybe, if they go on an international game next fall, I might be pressuring you to come with me abroad. I would love to do that.
I tell you, man, with 4 kids, that is tough in the fall.
I know.
You got school, you got soccer, you got, everything. Fall's, be tough, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I know it's a big ask, and we'll get there when we get there. We don't even know if they're going to be playing internationally, but
Well, you did remind me the Ravens do indeed play Miami. So yesterday I mentioned that Derrick Henry might not have the chance to stiff arm or baptize Minka Fitzpatrick again, but it's still in the cards for us. Chances
Certainly.
are there.
Certainly. Good memory there on the baptism analogy as well for those who missed it yesterday. Let's get to some super chats before we continue on with content, and special thanks to Be More Around Town. You can go check them out in the show notes and also in the pinned comment right now and take advantage of that complimentary tailgate opportunity. Liv B, who's celebrating 2 months of channel membership, says, on Wednesdays, we wear pink. Good to see Sarah with the Mean Girls look. Glad we're back live. Work has kept me out of the lives until today. LFG.
Well, I reject that the Mean Girls have like they have like the pink rights. Like I don't feel like it's theirs. However, here's a fun fact. When I worked at the Ravens, I would often eat lunch because we would eat cafeteria in the same cafeteria as the players. I would usually sit with the same kind of group of girls. There were 4 of us, and we were all from different departments. Oh, I miss them. I need to get together with them. Anyway, Bart Scott called us the Plastics. Have you seen the Mean Girls? Do you know the Plastics reference?
Not the reference, but I definitely get it, and I've watched it, but it's been years.
Yeah. Well, as you know, the 4 girls in there, they were called the Plastics, and that's what he called us.
Leave it to Bart.
And by the way, I feel like I'm a nice girl.
You are. Yeah.
For the most part.
You are. Heather McCubbins, earlier on in the show, gifted 2 channel memberships, 1 in each clip here. So thank you, Heather. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all of our channel members. And that does remind me that if you are a channel member at the end of this week, you will be eligible to have access to our soft launch. The Vault merch line is officially dropping coming up on Friday, and we are super excited to soft launch it for our patrons, for our Discord members, and for our channel members. So just know that's a little incentive built in this week. He's standing on it, Sarah. He's standing. He said he would. And here's another $20 super chat from PHP, and that's an orange banner.
It says, my daily chat, posting this for the record. I dreamt last night we beat the Rams in the bowl. We scored 63. Lamar had 5 touchdowns, 3 passing and 2 running. Kyle Hamilton had a pick 6. Sweated at the end, but the vision has arrived. Hashtag 20-0. I don't see how you could be sweating at the end of that. That's like just celebration right there.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it's a fairy tale ending there. Sweet dreams, PHP.
And by the way, people are saying I'm not a nice girl in certain instances.
You got a level of intensity to you.
I do. So TGIF for sure nailed it. He said Sarah is not nice when it comes to competition. I am definitely competitive. I don't know that that's like, yeah. So I'm definitely competitive. Like you said, I can get fiery. And Aline said, Aline is still bitter. She says I wasn't nice to Mark Andrews.
You got a level of intensity to you. Here's the funny part. If my mom were here right now, she'd be chiming in because she is on record for saying that I am a very intense person.
Okay.
You guys may not see that on my on-camera demeanor, but she thinks that I attack life with a certain level of intensity that is sort of, buttoned up and motivated, which is all true, but I don't necessarily agree with the word intent. That's not the way that I try to come across. But that is her way of viewing me.
Yeah.
30.
Well, but you are a go-getter. Like it's hard. I don't think that means that you're not nice, but you are intense, but you're a go-getter. Like you just are like, you're assertive. Like you're going to go and get things done. Like how else? I just don't see how you could be an entrepreneur any other way.
For sure.
You gotta go out and get it done.
The best reference that you've ever given me, you didn't give it to me, but you just shared it with me. And I think it resonated with both of us. And now it's on my dating app, by the way. Is the hunger for life analogy.
You put that on the dating app? That's awesome.
I'll read it for you real quick.
Let's do it.
And one more thing.
We always derail during super chats. Like we're like, okay, we're gonna be on point today, and then we get to super chats and it all falls apart.
Seriously. One more thing, by the way, is going to be electric. So hang on tight if you want to join us. Okay. One of the prompts is I want someone who. That's what Hinge gives you. And my answer is I want someone who is family oriented, has a hunger for life, and a heart for rescue dogs. Simple to the point. Now, somebody might be on the other end. Right. Somebody on the other end might be like, well, what's a hunger for life consist of? And I'm like, how much time you got? Because there's a lot that it consists of.
And I think as business partners, that really works well for the both of us.
I think so too.
You know what I mean? That we're just hungry. Always, I don't even know where my hunger comes from, but it's definitely there.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Park Heights Profit, on top of that generous donation, has generously gifted 5 memberships. So 5 new channel Voltrons have been randomly given out thanks to Park Heights Profit's generosity. We appreciate you, PHP. Heather McCubbin, Sarah, who's a channel member.
Heather says, bring in Clowney. That would put us over the top.
He's still out there, as we said yesterday. Oceans writes, one thing I have yet to see people mention. Ravens have the best success in the playoffs when the defense gets turnovers. Lamar hasn't had that luxury so far.
I saw a stat about that, and I bookmarked it while I was on vacation. Keep moving. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. Sod Blitz 34 writes, quit sleeping on me, Bobby. Take a look at the Discord. What are you doing in the Discord, Sod? Hang on now. Where's he at? Sod. Let's see. Oh, it's all... What is he doing here? Oh, he's just going player for player, it looks like. Comparing... okay. He did positional breakdowns comparing the Ravens and Steelers. As if to say that I'm giving Pittsburgh too much credit.
I just think that you have more optimism for Aaron than probably I do. I think that's where our main difference is, but it's not even like that different.
Yeah, I would agree. That's probably the biggest slight little friction there.
And I don't know about Sod. Maybe Sod thinks we're giving based off of PHP's comment. You aren't here for it. He was making me laugh. He called the Steelers. He likened them to a clean, brand new trash can. So it comes in fresh. You don't have like the old built up smells and scum and all of that, but it's still a trash can. That was his analogy.
How was your laughing levels compared to yesterday?
Oh, it wasn't that far.
Okay.
It's just that they kept coming in and I was trying not to laugh. And so when you're trying not to laugh, the tears come.
Something tells me that's going to happen again in this show.
Maybe.
Towards the back end.
I found the stat. This is Hoodie Ramey. You guys probably follow him on Twitter. From 2008 to 2014, so that's really the Flacco era, the defense had 42 playoff turnovers. 42! How many years is that? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's 7 years. Okay. In the Lamar era from 2018 to 24, which is also 7 years, the Ravens defense, I'm just going to have you guess. It went from 42 to what? Both over a 7-year span.
Less than 10.
Yes. Be more specific.
6.
3.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's bad. That's
rough.
Really bad. And you said that's over the same span, correct?
7 years for each.
Yeah. What's really, you know what the biggest indictment about that overall is? He has not had defenses that are bottom barrel throughout the last 7 years. He's had a couple number 1 or top 3 defenses.
Yeah,
in the
that's
league.
the crazy part.
These are defensive units that aren't showing. Let's call it spade a spade. They are not showing up, as Marlon Humphrey essentially said in his most recent press conference, when it matters the most. That's a big deal. And so when I see things like Kimberly Martin, who doesn't do this often, she's usually singing Lamar's praises. I saw a headline that she refers this upcoming season as a failure should Lamar not win a Super Bowl. I'm never going to say something like that because there are things that are outside of one man's control. And that right there, that statistic that you just provided is exactly why I will never say something like that. To me, that's ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
Off we go. Continue with Super Chats. Back to the content here in just a second. Liv B following up with you.
Sarah, I just enjoy the reference. Okay, good. And I wear pink every Wednesday myself. Wasn't saying you or me. I get that. But you do have some intensity at times. That is for sure. I'm definitely can be intense.
I love that follow-up right there.
Yes.
That was,
That was so well said all the way through. She wasn't saying that the mean girls get it, but she wears it every Wednesday. And yes, I think intense, not mean, is a great description for me.
That was really sweet.
Especially when it comes to debate and competition. But I can be pretty chill in my social life. Very chill.
I've seen it. Firsthand.
Yeah.
Boise Hingus, the channel member, writes, Pittsburgh is closer to a rebuild like New England did. They're old, slow, close to 500 at best. Can't be 500 in a 17-game season there, Boise. Ravens need to stop playing scared against them and beat them up. Playing scared against the Steelers. It's more like I can't go the scared route. That would be the Kansas City years ago, like the conservative route or the second guessing yourself route. For Pittsburgh, it's the self-inflicted route.
It was the turnovers, and they finally stopped that bleeding against Pittsburgh those last 2 games.
Killed. Appreciate the super chat, Boise. Adam 78 for you.
There's only 3 wildcard seeds. Who do you see making the playoffs? LA, Denver, Cincy, Miami, Pittsburgh, and then 2 sleepers like Vegas and New England. Oh, geez. So go ahead.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident about mine. I'll go. So, okay. To me, New England will over-deliver, and I think that Mike Vrabel will have them flirting with like 9-8 maybe as a ceiling, but I don't see them making the playoffs. But I do think that literally bringing in Mike Vrabel and everything else they've done is huge for Drake May and the rest of that organization. Some true leadership at the top. But I'll go Denver. I'm going to go Denver, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh.
Denver, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. So you got 3 from the AFC North.
I do. And the Browns are going to not obviously be a 4th.
Yeah, I don't hate that because division winners, Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs. So the one that's up for grabs is the AFC South. You imagine the Texans will bounce back, maybe. Yeah. So let's pencil them in. So then you got those 3 spots. You have Broncos and then Steelers and Bengals. Yeah, maybe the other one that could sneak in is the Chargers and take one of their spots. Like, I don't think both the Chargers and Broncos will make it. I don't think that's a bad call, Bobby.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Good exercise, though, from Adam.
Yeah.
That bottom half of the AFC, right? Like those 8 seeds, like 5 through 8. It's going to get really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Park Heights Prophet says, Bobby, take off the immunized glasses. Going back to the pandemic era for Aaron. Rodgers is so washed that the water won't even drain anymore. Steelers are going to be a dumpster fire this year. I don't even have Rodgers finishing the year. Okay, look.
If Rodgers doesn't finish, the Steelers are out, and then I would put the Chargers in over the Steelers, but go ahead.
Okay. I would probably, you're going to put the Chargers in for them.
If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play a full slate.
It's hard to sit here and really trust Tua in his health. And if you can't trust Tua in his health, Miami's not going to be there. So I'm with you there.
Okay.
If it weren't to be just an insane, peaking way too early New England team that Mike Vrabel has inspired,
Sure.
Now just to address this real quick, the end of his super chat, that's a very real possibility that Aaron doesn't finish this season.
Yeah.
The guy's 40 plus years old. So I recognize that. This is mid-July, so we're assuming, it's all we can do at this point, that a clean bill of health will be had. That's how we're doing these predictions. So I very much understand the idea that Aaron post-Achilles, not even 2 years removed yet, could very well not finish this season. And if he doesn't, I should say, then Pittsburgh sunk. Even more sunk than they were last year, even though I think you can make a case that Justin Fields deserved more of an opportunity, and he's going to go prove
sure
that thought and that take is true with the opportunity that he has in Jets land.
And I will tell you, Steelers fans out here are a little. They feel like they've made the playoffs before with Mason Rudolph. Like they don't have like, oh, we're going to go super far, but they think that they can make the playoffs with Mason Rudolph. The fans over here do.
Mike Tomlin, what say you?
Yeah.
All right, off we go. Take us to where we're heading next.
Where are we heading next? Oh, we are heading to Zay Flowers out of nowhere, hyping up first round rookie safety out of Georgia, Malachi Starks. So while we were out during the hiatus of our show, Zay Flowers, he was doing some workouts, what I assume is in Florida. And then he just decides to talk into the camera and say, hey, I've gotten a look at Malachi. We did OTAs. We did mandatory minicamp. And he started gassing up his new teammate.
I like that. You gonna see? Just chill. Wait till little bro lock in. Yeah, he like that. Once he catch that game speed in real life, I mean, shit, we done. Feel me? He already caught up for real.
Oh, he's already caught up. So at first he's like, hey,
Yeah.
once he catches that game speed, referring to the obvious transition, the elephant in the room from collegiate to professional. But then he's like, nah, he's already. What did he say at the end there?
Here, let me play it again for you.
Yeah.
He
It was
says
real.
he already caught up.
Okay. All right.
He already caught up for real.
All right.
Yeah, the audio is a little bit lower, but he said Malachi is like that. You're gonna see. Wait. Just wait. Lock in. Little bro is gonna lock in. Yeah, he like that. Once he catches up, I mean, shoot. He's already up. He's already caught up for real.
Well, let me tell you a side note.
Editing on that.
Zay's physique is absurd. He's 0% body, -1% body fat. I mean, come on. He looks like he's ready to go.
He's born ready to go.
Yeah.
For sure.
But the big takeaway here, building up your guy as you suspect, two young guys. Zay, a third-year player, just changed his representation, so knows that if he puts forth another big season, another 1,000-yard receiving season, that the Ravens could be paying him handsomely a year from now. And then the Rook, who all of a sudden, with Malachi, as any first-rounder would, it garners a lot of attention. But then Ardarius, who comes in, admirably last year after some benchings and some cuts and everything that we watched play out throughout that treacherous beginning of the season when it comes to the Baltimore pass defense. All of a sudden, it's like, all right, you're the guy now, dude. And I'm certainly expecting some rookie moments, Sarah, and
Yeah.
a buffer period, if you will, to kind of get himself acclimated, understand the terminology, get caught up with true NFL speed, like Zay's sort of referencing here in this clip. But man, there are a lot of people that are already writing this guy in as a shoo-in, making it comfortable to say things like Emmanuel Acho did, or maybe it was Shady on that same clip, that he feels like the safety tandem that is Kyle and Malachi is the top in the league. Not sure if I'm there yet because we haven't watched. Malachi's like a paper champion right now,
For sure.
and so
But Zay's bringing him off the paper a little bit, right?
maybe.
We're not in the season yet. We haven't even had a preseason game, but I think that that's what Zay's kind of doing here. This isn't Zay at a press conference and reporters are asking about the new additions to the team and you have to toe the company line. Okay. This is Zay out doing a workout in the middle of the summer away from the Ravens, had no reason to bring up Malachi Starks other than he believes in him.
Sure.
Right there. This was not like, a reporter put a microphone in my face and I had to say something nice. That's not what this is. So after watching him and Malachi, what's good for him is he's got all sorts of guys he's got to defend against in practice. In fact, if I recall correctly, when he was at podium, he was asked who the toughest is to guard. He took a second to think and he's like, oh, for sure, Isaiah Likely. He's faster than what he looks on TV. Obviously, that speed with a big body is going to be tough to do. So he's got these tight ends he has to contend with, and then he's got a speedster in just like this jitterbug in Zay that he's got to cover. Then he's got Rashad Bateman, we know who he is, and now he's got DeAndre Hopkins. So he's got almost everything that you could throw at him between big bodies, smooth route running, or just this jitterbug in Zay. He's got everything. And so Zay seeing Malachi, that holds weight with me, right? That holds weight. And so the question is, to me, kind of going forward, is how will they use him? Because to your point, he's going to have rookie moments. And so I was reading over at Russell Street Report from Nikhil Mehta. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right, but he was out there at practice and he was talking about what the projection would be of how they use him. And I really liked what he was talking about, how obviously if Ardarius Washington was still healthy, the Ravens could slowly kind of bring him along with the very narrowed role and then expand from there. But the Ravens don't have that luxury anymore. And so coming into the league, everybody talked about Malachi Starks' versatility. I think it's the versatility that we're going to have to wait on a little bit. Like, give him smaller roles to start. And that's what they were saying here on Russell Street Report. He said he will partner with Hamilton as a starting safety with plenty of too high looks based on Zack Orr's comments when asked about his vision for his safeties. Here's Orr, quote, "I think that it could change week by week, but I think the vision ultimately is be ball hawks and be ball control back there. Great communicators, great leaders, get us in and out of the right calls, nothing over our heads, and then make plays back there." So I don't know how much they're going to be able to play this positionless football until they know for a fact that Malachi's there. But to Zay's point, he's like, oh, once he locks in, but he's like, wait, he kind of already is locked in, because that's what Malachi is known for. On top of what he can do on the field, it's mostly like this guy's another coach. And so that's when players usually break out, is once they can see the game. And if Malachi can put that into hyperdrive, they can transition more quickly from, hey, we're just going to keep you in a free safety, don't let anything get over your head, to becoming more interchangeable inside that secondary and playing more with these chess pieces of him and Kyle Hamilton and others.
You definitely got to wonder where Malachi is at this point, like a couple weeks out. Well, actually, days out from reporting. It's the 15th for rookies. And you wonder where he is in the terminology side of things, because this is a player that, has a ton of high leverage experience reps under his belt. I think that's what the Ravens loved about the guy, is that his floor was coming in really high, given the magnitude of all the moments that he experienced while at Georgia, and a championship, by the way, to boot. But this is an NFL defense, and there's a lot of sophisticated nuance and wrinkles to Zack Orr's scheme. And so where is he with the terminology, and how much of that terminology will still be being learned on the fly come training camp? I wonder. We won't know. We may never know. But if he starts having sort of an imperfect training camp, you got to wonder if that's sort of that multitask, drinking from the fire hose experience that he's going to have to endure, given that Ardarius is this is his show. This is your opportunity to go show that you can be Kyle's running mate. And given Kyle's stature, there's going to be a lot that just his sheer presence alone as his running mate will hide and cover up, right, of Malachi's. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to be ready to go when the sparks are flying. Well,
speaking of drinking from a fire hose, we know he's been doing that since the moment he came on campus. And I just want to revisit what John Harbaugh said and how basically Malachi has not made any mistakes, which is crazy given that he was brand new, and rookies for sure, even first rounders, usually make mistakes.
Stand out to that exemplary level.
Well, one example, I think it's been reported, he was organizing walkthroughs at the hotel for the rookies, pretty much the whole camp. I think that's pretty cool, and he's always on point. He can answer any question, in a meeting, we may be back there and say, hey, all right, Malachi, and you throw a situation at him and he knows, he's been studying, comes prepared, and I'm sure he's made a mistake or two, maybe with some minor leverage things, but I've never seen him make a real mistake yet. He's Very, very much a pro. Probably way.
Very much a pro.
That's the thing, right? Like, that's what I meant by the reference of the high ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Malachi is going to be this perennial all-pro player for the next 10 years. But what I do know based on the study, since they called his name, is that he's coming in with this expertise as a professional that you would think makes his transition a little bit more seamless than somebody that is coming in newly minted, if you will, maybe from a smaller school or, less experience and not as many reps as he's had with Kirby Smart and really the professional program that they run there. A lot of these SEC schools, let's face it, they're like amateur NFL teams. And so I think that's probably what he's referencing there.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Well, and the thing is what Zay's saying and what Harbaugh's saying, the Ravens need him to come to fruition because for sure the biggest weakness last year was the pass defense until they were finally able to kind of like MacGyver it and like
MacGyver. Wow.
Yeah, MacGyver it by moving all these different pieces and make it much more respectable. In fact, I think it was one of the best at the end of the year from weeks 11 on. So they need it to come to fruition. And I think the PFF rankings of the secondaries is giving the Ravens a lot of credit for what they've done because even though the pass defense was much better the last 10 weeks of the season, it still ended like number 31 in pass yards given up. And so to go into this year where PFF is ranking the Ravens as number 1 for the audio only, here's their top 5 secondaries in the NFL.
Whew.
Ravens, number 1, Chiefs, number 2, Broncos, number 3, Texans, number 4, and Patriots, number 5. I mean, that's given a lot of love to what's on paper after what they did last year. 31 in passing yards allowed by the end of the year.
That is, if that's not the best testament to what PFF feels like the Ravens have in Malachi, I'm not sure what is. Oh, man. Granted,
I mean, obviously Jair is added, so they're feeling good about that.
Right. Yeah. This probably is more so about that addition. Maybe that allowed them to leapfrog the Kansas Cities and the Denvers of the world because both of their secondaries are certainly nothing to overlook. But, wow. And having a player like Kyle, the perennial Pro Bowler that he's turned himself into, perennial All-Pro, really, in such a short amount of time since being drafted in 2022, I think is a big part. They have star power coupled with, veteran former stars. Maybe Marlon will have something to say about that if he continues to put forth a season the way that he did a year ago. Jair, a former star, maybe still is. And then you got the youth as well. There's a slew of youth that's going to have something to say about what they have at corner. So high praise, right?
I definitely put him top 3, but I feel like I want to get into the season before I can give him number 1. And obviously they're giving a lot of love to Kyle Hamilton here. I mean, he's the image in the graphic to represent this whole thing that PFF is using. But Kyle Hamilton was also on last year's team that was number 31 in passing yards. So I think it's given a lot of love. Well, and it's not even just the player acquisitions, which obviously is very important. But to me, what I actually feel better about is the returning of all the coaches. Because you were starting, with a brand new coordinator. He was in his first year. He definitely found his footing later on. And you've also added Chuck Pagano over the offseason. And, Pease is returning.
Don't forget too, you plucked Donald DeLisio from Kansas City.
Oh,
he's a renowned assistant in the secondary. So, the Chiefs have had a lot of success with him. You suspect that that's going to continue under his tutelage in Baltimore. And then, like you mentioned, the headliners though are the OGs, right? With Chuck and Dean, and then the young gun, the youngest DC around in Zack Orr. So I don't know if I have no idea whether or not like the staff was in consideration when making that top 10 list, Sarah, but certainly they deserve a mention in that.
Yeah. Somebody said I don't blame Kyle for last year's secondary. Neither do I. I definitely wasn't saying that. But as good as he is, they still were 31. Was more my point. But Bobby, here are the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year odds. Because we're talking about Malachi, I brought it up. He used to be number 14 before Ardarius Washington's injury. He moved up to number 10 on the list, which is not great chances, but we'll see what happens. But it's the Ravens' other rookie who's higher up on this list. Mike Green comes in at number 7 in terms of the odds. So we'll see what happens when the season starts. These things will be shuffled for sure.
Mike remains unsigned, huh?
He does.
Interesting. The lone Ravens rookie?
He's the only one. But he's
lone
still practicing,
rounder.
so it's not getting the attention that Shamar Stewart has gotten in Cincinnati because Mike Green is still practicing.
And also not the lone second rounder around the league, I believe.
Yeah, he's one of 30 as of June 28th anyway. He's one of 30 second round picks still unsigned.
Okay. All right. Something to watch. Which we will, of course.
Here, let me just read this from Adam Schefter because he had this tweet. He said, again, this is from June. This is June 27th. Heading into the weekend and less than a month from training camp, only 2 of the NFL's 32 second-round draft picks have been signed. Deals are stalled over whether or not contracts will be fully guaranteed. Here we go again, fully guaranteed. This is the forever battle.
Yeah.
And Lamar was in the thick of it. I went over this when you were out, the collusion case.
Yeah.
Bobby, you know how that was 61 pages?
Yeah.
The collusion case. I probably read like 40
Oh.
pages of it and skimmed the other
God bless you.
15 or so. I feel like I'm caught up to speed on that.
I bet.
Anyway, it says deals are stalled over whether or not contracts will be fully guaranteed. The only 2 2025 second-round picks now signed are Cleveland's Carson Schwessinger and Houston's Jaden Higgins.
All right.
So
those numbers should make you sleep well at night then if you're somebody that's worrying about this, right?
yeah, that it's not like a Mike Green and Ravens thing. This is a second-round thing. So we'll see. Once 1 or 2 fall, all the rest will follow. Somebody's going to have to blink.
Yeah. And we'll be watching it leading up to training camp. Just a few days out from that getting kickstarted. Back to Super Chats before quick hits.
Yes, sir.
All right. We left off with Park Heights Prophet, and then he doubled up again with another Super Chat. And this time it's 10 with the yellow banner, and he writes, "It won't be injury," referring to Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't love the game anymore. Rodgers will retire on McAfee mid-season, and DK Metcalf will explode on Twitter. Tomlin out, and 5-12 season incoming in Pittsburgh. That cracks me up. There was a time earlier on in the season, I can remember in the off season, where Aaron did an interview on McAfee, and I was heading to you. I was heading to Columbus, and I was in the airport watching this interview. And at the time, Aaron was unsigned, and he seemed totally disinterested. He then went and got married. He then went and figured out his next plan, signed with the Steelers, so on and so forth. We'll see if some of that perceived or obvious disinterest lingers into the season. I don't think it will. This is a guy that understands how to take care of his body, how to work through an off season. He's been doing it for close to 2 decades. So we'll see, PHP. Appreciate you. Celebrating 1 month of channel membership is Nikki E. and her super chat attached.
Did anyone see the NFL team record predictions game by game for 2025? They have the Bengals winning the AFC North. Oh, I'll take a note of that. I'll go look for it. That's crazy talk. Although the Ravens have never three-peated before.
That'll change this year if everybody stays healthy.
If everybody stays healthy, I agree.
Yeah. David Herrera writes, part 1. Looks like there's going to be a multi-part super chat here. He writes, part 1, completely unrelated. I'm still not sold on ZO as DC. I'm happy with what he's sustained up front, but he needs all this help in the secondary. I'm Trying not to sneeze as I talk through part 2.
Can we do it?
David Herrera writes, yeah, I can. Part 2, which leads to my next point / question. Harbaugh should take a Joe Ortiz role in the front office, as I am a fan of a personnel pipeline, not a head coach. Do you guys also carry this sentiment? I do not. How about you, Sarah?
Sorry, I zoned out for a second there looking up something. In front of the office, I'm a fan of personnel pipeline, not a head coach.
He wants Harbaugh to shift into the front office.
Oh. No, I don't think Harbaugh's going to do that. I think he would just retire.
By the way, the first one, though, is what sort of caught my eye more so than the second one. How can he not be sold on Zack, David? I mean, it took everything to turn this thing around in season last year. It took the Stones to go ahead and bench one of your most expensive players in Marcus Williams, who was simply not performing. It took Stones to sit there and take the media onslaught that came with some of those struggles on the pass defense. And then, have you been living under a rock this offseason? Have you listened to some of these press conferences and the way that folks have unprompted, right, completely on their own, gone to back Zack? Chuck Smith was incredibly impassioned. And there have been others along the way as well. So I'm not with you there. I think he's going to be a young, up-and-coming coordinator that was learning on the fly last year and unfortunately had some personnel issues that were completely out of his control that first half, Sarah.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you. I do have confidence in Zack Orr, but I get where David's coming from. I mean, it was scary there for a minute. It was bad. And I don't know if it's all Zack Orr's fault. Players have said it's not. Sounds like some players weren't all bought in, which is why there was some cuts and some benchings and all that kind of stuff. So I can see why people would still be a little like squeamish just because that was not the standard of the Ravens defense that we've been used to.
Yeah, I think it ends up being an afterthought come a couple months from now, but we'll watch. We'll watch because it wasn't off the jump last year for sure. Maybe that's what David is still having PTSD on. Sherry has gifted 5 channel Voltrons, so 5 new memberships. That means 5 new people. Thanks to Sherry's generosity, we'll have early access to our soft launch. The Vault merch line drops on Friday. Patrons, Discord members, channel members. You guys all are eligible for our soft launch, and Sarah and I have been deep in the weeds with our girl Carly in the design process. We're pretty excited about this. This is some serious stuff that we've been working on for months. And the idea, Sarah, of a percentage of Flock Nation walking into Buffalo week 1 in early September, Sunday Night Football, rocking our merch,
bro,
kind of giving me some chills.
I never even thought of it like that. I don't know why. Like, I'm just picturing my own friends and family mostly wearing the Vault. But if we get pictures of people wearing the Vault, like if they got, you know, a beanie for that Buffalo game, or we've got hoodies, or maybe it's still hot. You go to training camp in a Vault t-shirt. Oh, come on now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would make me happy.
You mentioned it. There's a couple great cut sleeves, male and female. You got beanies for the winter, sweatshirts and crew necks for the winter and the fall. You've got a snapback hat that I know I'll be rocking. You've got t-shirts, bumper stickers, coffee mugs. We're really excited about this. So Sherry, thank you. And thanks to everybody else who either becomes a member, gifts membership, joins our Patreon community, joins the Discord community over the course of the next several days leading into Friday. Sherry, on top of that, Sarah's dropped in a $25 spot and a super chat comment is attached.
I got to look this up. I pray Psalms 91 over our Ravens this season.
Okay. You got that on lock. And
91.
while you do, she's not finished. She just dropped in another 5 spot. And all of a sudden, the gift giving run is on. So thank you to Sherry for your 5. Park Heights Prophet has dropped in another 5 on top of everything else he's done so far this show. And we haven't even got to one more thing, which I really think is going to inspire some super chats. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe, just maybe.
What verse in Psalms 91 is my question?
Do they describe it as a whole, though?
I'm not. No, not
All
where
right.
I've just clicked.
Sherry, let us know. Let's get to some quick hits and then one more thing.
Oh, wait, here we go. AI overview. Psalms 91 is a powerful and well-known passage in the Bible that focuses on the protection and refuge offered by God to those who trust him.
Okay.
It describes God as a shelter, fortress, and refuge, emphasizing his faithfulness and the security found in his presence.
Thanks, Sherry.
I feel
Appreciate
good about that.
Hey, quick question in real time here for you.
Yeah.
1:15. We have quick hits and one more thing, and the Ray was sort of like a third topic. What do we
I'll
want
go
to do?
through it real quick. This is
Okay.
just funny to me.
Take it from me.
Okay. So yesterday, Brett Coleman, who is the creator of All 32 and a co-host of This Is Blocking. For me, it's blocking what it says. There we go. The co-host of the Bootleg Football Podcast. Okay. This is hilarious to me how this started things out in Ravens Twitter. He says, my hot take is that Ray Lewis, while an all-time great, did not have a skill set that translated across eras in the way that Patrick Willis did. You could put 2007 Willis on the field today and he would still be the best in the game. 2006 Lewis would fit better in 2006. And when I tell you, I saw so many people respond to this. It was hilarious to me. So Ryan Mink summed it up well. He said, debating whether Ray Lewis was a good coverage linebacker is peak July content. And for sure it is. Like, here we are on a random July 9th. And like, we're debating whether or not Ray Lewis would be a good fit today. Here's Ryan chiming in. He said, opponents didn't even want to go over the middle with Ray Lewis lurking in coverage. Take it from Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski. So Ryan took the time in July to go find their quotes. He says, that dude scared the bleep out of me, says Edelman. Gronk said, I would put my hand out and I was already scared of Ray Lewis. When you're scared of a player, you're already kind of beaten. So these are obviously receiving tight end and a receiver who didn't like to go up against him in coverage. Spenny says there's that. Then there's also him baiting throws for about 13 years and also being a nasty pass rusher and having freak sideline to sideline speed on underneath throws for about 6 to 7 years. LJ Translator, the Lamar Translator, he had to get in on it, Bobby. Ray Lewis with a torn tricep and at the age of 37 had more of an impact in the Super Bowl win than the 28-year-old Patrick Willis. Dave Panchwa had to get in. He said also anyone who watched Super Bowl 35 knows that Ray was everywhere and pretty much destroyed the Giants in the intermediate passing game almost single-handedly. He wasn't even involved as much versus the run because they threw the ball 40 times. Anyway, it just goes on and on about how he changed his weight to transform and adapt. Also, one last thing, Dev pointed out that he's the only player with at least 40 sacks and 30 interceptions in his career. Let that sink in for a bit about his style translating. So Brett Coleman put out his hot take, and Ravens Twitter was not kind in response, but it is crazy to me. Like, there are some players, Bobby, that are just so great. They transcend eras. That's crazy to me. Of course, Ray Lewis. I mean, think about Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith is thriving. He's been an all-pro the last 3 years. You don't think that Ray could do it? Obviously, he could.
Remember when I said earlier on in the show that folks are starved?
Yes.
They're starving right now. This is the epitome of that. Brett, by the way, is one of the OG goats in football YouTube space. So this is somewhat surprising coming from him. And anything that does come from him, I usually consider it heavily.
Yeah.
This one went a little bit off the rails for July. I think he might just be starving himself.
Yeah. We're all starving.
Yes, we are. To quick hits we go.
The Ravens Realm put this up. Just a good reminder. It's sometimes fun to go back to drafts, but remember the same year that the Ravens were looking for a wide receiver, so was the Chargers. And at pick 21, the Chargers did indeed take a wide receiver. They took Quentin Johnston. So the Ravens followed up with Zay Flowers, and the Ravens Realm says, I'm still so glad.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I also remember having Dan Orlovsky on our show. Great dude. And now he is going nowhere anytime soon. ESPN's re-signed him. He's set for his 6th season of NFL Live. He's going to go for select games in the Monday Night Football booth, typically with Louis Riddick. And appearances will be on Get Up, First Take, The Pat McAfee Show, Sports Center, so on and so forth. I'm sure we'll have plenty of him to get into throughout this upcoming season, but I know we both appreciate him and his analyst work, and I'm not sure there's anybody more deserving at the mothership in Bristol, Connecticut. So congratulations to Dano.
I do like Dano. He's been on our show. This you can take off. I was going to pair it with your other thing that we're going to push. So, but I just wonder if he's going to pick his MVP. Is he MVP voter again? And is he going to pick him when like there's a whole month of December football still to go? That's my question.
He did declare. That was a little in front of his skis there for sure. But other than that, man, he's
good. He's
just
a good
dude. Got a big family. Seems like a great dad from what you can tell on social media. And the whole running out of the end zone thing is far, far in his past. He has built himself a sensational media career. Park Heights Prophet with a super chat before we transition to one more thing. I think you guys are going to appreciate today's. PHP writes, how hard is that vault shirt going to hit when the Monday Night Football camera catches me behind the Ravens bench in row 1? Are all of the videos of me talking trash in Buffalo to their weak fans? Read all of Psalm 91. What's NIV?
The new international version.
Thank you. Okay, he's giving us some homework.
I'll read it. Does it have to be NIV? Can I still read King James? That's what I got in the house.
But to answer his question, that vault shirt,
dude,
getting a cameo on national television, it's going to hit.
PHP.
It is going to hit.
PHP, a walking advertisement for us on Monday Night Football.
A reminder that if you become a patron member, if you become a channel member, if you join the Discord group, you will be eligible for the soft launch, eligible to be accessed, eligible to access our merch line, which is dropping, soft launching on Friday. The whole thing will be available to everybody coming up before training camp. Gordon C. and Leah Couples, thank you both for believing in what we're building. This is your monthly shout out because of the support that you guys consistently give us via Patreon. So thank you both. Appreciate you both. If you guys are interested in doing the same, visit patreon.com/RavensVault podcast to learn more about what we're offering. And you can go check that out in the show notes below. One more thing. Begin for us.
Oh, I'm going to kick it off?
Yeah, why not?
So yesterday, given my mispronunciation of Vegeta at least a dozen times, I go to my son who turns 14 on Friday. So that'll be fun. Aiden turns 14 on Friday. And he's one that I know that is into anime. And I said, Aiden, have you ever heard of a character called Vegeta? He's like, oh, Vegeta? Yeah, Mom. He gives me all the background, and it's like in the Dragon Z something series or whatever. I really didn't pick up much information, even though he kept talking about it. And he's like, finally, he finishes telling me about Vegeta. He's like, why? And so I was like, you know what? Let me just show you. I was like, let me pull up today's show. So I pull up the show yesterday to him. And first of all, he's losing his mind because every time I mispronounced it, he's like getting more frustrated that it took me that long to go to the pronunciation guide. So he's like, he can't get over that. But then we're like, we get to the part where I'm like cry laughing, right? Because of everybody's super chats. And so then Aiden's dying. Okay. He's dying just like I am. And my girls are in the other room. So it's Ella, who's 8, and London, who's 12. And they come in and they're like, what's so funny? And I was like, okay, I'll rewind it. And we go back. And I honestly don't think, because I frequently try to like show my kids things that I think are funny. And I swear to you, just because I'm their mom, I think they act like it's not funny when they know it's funny. But I don't think I've gotten all of them. And Gardner is at a camp, so we'll see. When Gardner comes home, I'll play it for him. But me and the 3 younger kids were like rolling. And again, even the second time around, I was crying. My kids were dying laughing. And anyway, Aiden sent me, but I need your permission on this.
All right.
Oh,
Do you think we
forgive
gave
me.
enough context to people that are live right now that maybe weren't yesterday?
Oh, give him the context. Go ahead.
I think, did Dre Dog get us going?
It was Dre Dog calling you Bobby Vegeta is how it all
Okay.
started. And yes.
Which essentially prompted then you and I are looking up what Vegeta is, who Vegeta is, how he even possibly remotely looks like me, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about the hairline and my buzz cut. And that's how we got on this yesterday. It was literally because of a super chat.
Yes.
And now we're here. And your one more thing is inspired by this. And my one more thing is about to be inspired by Dre Dog. So, Dre, I guess, thank you.
He really inspired it for 2 shows in a row. So Aiden, after finishing laughing, all of us, of course, at your expense, and you're like the best sport ever about it. And I just want everybody to be clear that I like quadruple checked with Bobby that he's like literally not bothered by any of this, because it's like, is there any part of you at night that's like, oh, okay, I feel a little bit bad? And he's like, no, not at all. And I'm like, okay.
You followed up multiple times,
Okay.
as a good partner does.
So Aiden sent me, he's like, no, Vegeta isn't the right. Aiden's like, he's like, Vegeta's pretty good, but it's not the right one. He sent me an image. I believe this is still of an anime. You're okay with me showing this? This is Aiden. This is not me.
Yeah,
Okay,
bring
this
it
is
on.
not me.
If I have the bone to pick with Aiden, then he'll handle my wrath. You know. Let's take a look.
Okay. Oh, forgive me. This is who he sent me.
Stop. Man, he must have been in the live chat yesterday, mixing it up with everybody. Look at this.
This guy, this is an anime, is it?
Who is it?
This guy's
Vegapunk?
name is Vegapunk.
Vegapunk. Let's take a look. This guy, first of all, the shape of this image is absurd. All right. When you Google him, that's one. Let's get like more of a horizontal look at him.
Okay, let's get him. Yeah.
Like, is this him?
That's him, but you don't even get the top of his head.
Aiden, I thought you were my nephew.
That's why you needed the vertical one, bro.
I thought you were my nephew, young man.
Okay, but go find out who Vegapunk is. Can you go to like the non-images part of this?
Oh boy. Yep, let's do it.
Vegapunk One Piece Wiki. What's that?
All right. Also
Yeah, you
known
read
as Stella, is a brilliant but eccentric scientist. The name Vegapunk is a combination of Vega, referencing a star, and punk, which can refer to a subculture, or in this case, can be interpreted as space tech, or above all else, in reference to his advanced scientific knowledge, according to a Reddit thread. Super accurate. Okay. He is a leading scientist for the Marines and is known for his groundbreaking inventions, including
we don't know any of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But sounds like a renowned, accomplished dude.
Yeah, so they give him a bigger forehead to show how brilliant he is.
All right.
Brilliant.
Aiden, thank you for the comparison. This, however, looked a little bit different than the other ones. Didn't it? This guy, audio only, you're just going to want to come to YouTube. This guy looks a little bit different. He looks a little longer, doesn't he? Here you go again.
Oh, that was good. Listen, Bobby, just so you know, I get trolled by my teenage boys all day, every day. Okay. So like you already have thick skin, but they have definitely, and I had 4 brothers growing up. I know how to be trolled for sure. But these boys will just keep piling on. Like they know no limits. None.
You know, if you're living in life as a thick skin human, I should say a thin skin human, you're probably not going to get very far. On to my one more thing, if you're all set. Are you all set on your
I'm
end?
all set. That was it for me.
Okay. So I pull up Discord at this morning, but it was last night, and our friend Romy Raven decided to take the baton from you and continue to have a little bit of fun. She goes to ChatGPT,
Oh.
okay, and goes and grabs Vegeta, I guess, Vegeta and my face, and ChatGPT does the rest. This is kind of creepy.
My gosh, Bobby, can this be a new emoji?
Sure, Sarah. Sure, Sarah. Take it. This is creepy.
Oh my
All right.
gosh, but Bobby, that's you in there?
I don't know
I can
what
kind of see the nose a little bit and the smile. I see it a little bit. The eyes, obviously
Listen.
not the rest, but I see your smile, nose, and eyes in there. Do you see yourself?
Yes. Romy Raven needs to let me know. Here she is in the live chat right now. I knew she'd be there. So Romy, please enlighten us. What did you give to ChatGPT? Because I'm genuinely curious how smart that friggin' thing is. I mean, this is like, I'm guessing she aided them with like a couple photos and then Vegeta and was like, morph this all together, please.
Yes. And ChatGPT delivered
And ChatGPT followed suit.
really well.
Unbelievable. So, as it's going to be like 3 things in one for one more thing, because people are responding to this a lot more actively than I thought they might. This comes in last night. I see it this morning. I go to my 6 a.m. workout today, and the cutest girl in class, who I've been looking at all summer long, who I recently realized is not only married but has a couple kids, so it's off the table,
Yeah.
comes up to me at the end of class and says, "Hey, I really like your buzz cut." I was like, "Thank you, Steph. Thank you for liking my buzz cut." Because over 1,800 concurrents yesterday didn't, for whatever reason. And I don't care because I'm standing, you know what, down, and I enjoy it. And I was happy that I got to go to Asia and in ridiculously humid temperatures be comfortable without a mop on my head. And I'm happy with the results that I've got over the last 2.5 years from my hair transplant. And oh, by the way, I'm going in potentially for a follow-up procedure after reaching out to my doctor with the buzz cut results. But Steph says, "Hey, I like the buzz cut. Has anybody ever told you that you look like a young Michael J. Fox?"
Oh, well, let's bring up Michael J. Fox because.
And I thought to myself, you do that, Sarah, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought to myself, no one's ever told me that. But back in college, I was featured on a frickin' Instagram Doppelgangers account with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Michael J. Fox too much.
January 24th of 2016, Loyola Doppelgangers decides to put me and Mel, who at the time, I don't know, in this photo, does he look 60 years old to you? I think so. Well, guess what? At the time, I was 21 years old. How do you think that felt? That I'm getting Mel Gibson. My junior year of college. Horrific.
Yeah, I don't know that either one of them is quite right for you.
Okay.
I don't know. Like,
Let me just give you this, though, Sarah.
Okay, go
a little
ahead.
bit of context for you, just to see if it changes anything. And it may not, because you've already made it clear that you don't see it. And now, as you bring up
sorry. Are you still talking
young-
about Mel? Did I ruin it?
Nope, that's okay.
Okay.
Because I'm actually curious what a young Michael J. Fox looks like.
I remember watching him on, what was the name of that show in the 80s? Obviously in Back to the Future, but I'm thinking of the show that he was in.
Okay.
Keep going.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this. There have been 2 people, 2 humans that I have consistently been compared to as doppelganger over the years.
Okay.
One is Mel Gibson. And when I tell you that repeatedly people tell me this on a yearly basis, I will tell you right now that double-digit people have told me
Like
over the last
independently.
call it 10 years, independently,
Okay.
have told me that I look like Mel Gibson. A single-digit amount of people, maybe 4 or 5, have told me that I look like Derek Carr.
Yes.
Those are the two people that I've gotten compared to the most.
I think Derek Carr is the closest.
Okay.
Let's see here. Yeah, Derek Carr. I feel good about that one.
Zoom in on one of them, will you?
Let me see if I can here. Oh, zoomy, zoom.
If only I had legit facial hair.
Oh, what about this right here? Check this one out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What say you, live chat? Yeah, I can't grow. I wish I could grow a beard like that.
And it was Family Ties.
Be next level. Excuse me?
The Family Ties was the name of the Michael J. Fox show that I watched in the 80s when I was a kid.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't see Michael Keaton at all. Or excuse me, Keaton was like their character names. Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
I don't see Michael J. Fox. I'm having a hard time with Mel Gibson. I see a lot of people say it. Maybe it was because the picture you showed, like your forehead isn't as like doesn't have any sun lines like his does. So it's throwing me off. But Derek Carr, I can see it. Now the doppelganger, I often get independently from others, but I don't know that I'm seeing it. Eye of the Taurus says it's Anne Hathaway. I don't have a big smile like hers.
Okay.
I've got a very small smile. People give me Sandra Bullock.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
Could
I don't know how
definitely see that.
accurate that is, but that's what I've probably had 3 or 4 times independently from other people.
I got to think about yours and get back to you.
Okay.
But yeah, Dre Dog is in the live chat, and Sarah, I think he probably deserves a little bit of a hat tip because he gave us quite a bit of content, and we unknowingly, when reading that super chat, got a couple days worth of one more things. So there you have it. Appreciate you guys.
Man, more people say Anne Hathaway. I just don't see that. Maybe it's just because the smile that's throwing me off. Okay, so Bobby, we have that emoji that we can maybe turn into from Discord. Although I feel like if we're going to do that to you, we got to do one that
Oh, Sherry says you're Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, I wish.
Woo! Let me tell you.
No, I'm not saying that Anne Hathaway is lucky or ugly. Somebody said she's not ugly. I didn't say she was. She's beautiful. I just don't see myself in Anne Hathaway. Jennifer Aniston? Yeah, right.
Jennifer is timeless, ageless.
Sarah Jessica Parker? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is still to be determined. But anyway, if we're to put up that what the chat called Bob Jita emoji, I need one that kind of gets at me a little bit. But listen, I'm going to change this one. Tell me what you think of this. I'm going to change this one into, I got to get the crying emoji on here, but this was a screen grab from yesterday that if I put the crying on it, don't you think that's a great crying emoji?
That was from yesterday?
Yeah, that was from yesterday. I took a screen grab, so I just need to emojify it, as they say.
Yeah, go let it rip.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So that should be a new emoji. The Bob Jita should be a new emoji. We'll try to get that done today. And the
Anybody
members
who
should be able
thinks
to
that
get
we're
access.
not leaning into this in the show, you can think again.
Yeah.
We're leaning in. We are fully leaning in. Appreciate you guys. Fun time today. 90 minutes worth of content on the nose for you. So it's time to go.
Yep.
We appreciate you as always. Thanks to Be More Around Town for the continued support. Again, that offer stands right now. You can book a full Ravens away trip experience with Be More Around Town. And in return, you're going to receive 2 complimentary VIP purple tailgate passes to a 2025 home tailgate of your choice. That's where I've done my pregame broadcast live streams the last 2 years, and they do a fantastic job. So if you end up booking with them, go ahead and email Brian at BeMoreAroundTown.com, and then you'll be able to redeem those complimentary VIP home purple tailgate passes. All that information can be found in the show notes, or just click the link that's in the pinned comment right now in the live chat. So for Be More Around Town, for Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Wednesday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. We'll be back with you in under 23 hours from right now. On the way out, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member. Consider becoming a patron member and or joining the Discord group, because on Friday, you will have direct access to the soft launch of the Vault merch line coming to a store near you very soon. Partner, appreciate you as always. We'll catch up with you on Thursday, if not before. And as always, thanks for spending some time with us here inside the Vault. We'll talk to you soon.